If you're still bulking half the year and cutting the other half, you're stuck in a cycle that keeps you frustrated, inconsistent, and never satisfied with how you truly look with your shirt off. And in 2026, that approach, the whole cutting, bulking cycle, is officially dead. Not because it doesn't work on paper, but because it completely fails in real life. Now, I have coached hundreds of busy men, former athletes in high performance. I have been on bulks. I've been on cuts. I've done the whole stuff your face, then starve yourself routine. And here's the promise of this video. I'm going to show you why the old bulk and cut model is stupid long-term, what the science actually says about muscle growth and fat gain, and the smarter way to stay lean, get strong, and confident year-round without wrecking your habits or your hormones. So here's the problem with the whole bulking and cutting culture. I want to call this out honestly, because bulking literally forces you to build habits around excess. Now, what do I mean? This is what I mean. Eating when you're not hungry, forcing calories down your throat, and ignoring your hunger cues. And then when you're going on a cut, that completely flips everything on its head. Now suddenly you're starving yourself. You're constantly thinking about food. You're food focused. You're obsessing over food. There's literally been times when I've done 3 bodybuilding shows. Every single time I've done that, especially towards the tail end of my prep, the tail end of my cutting phase, I would pre-plan my meals in advance. So whenever people are bored, they go on their phone, they scroll social media, I would go on the MyFitnessPal app and I would literally try to plug in the numbers of like, ooh, what meal could I eat next? What meal could I eat tomorrow? I got so obsessed with food because I was so deprived of it. So that's why I was constantly thinking about it, right? Whereas on the other extreme of things, when you're bulking, the last thing you want to do is think about food. And so this just creates this really vicious cycle, this whole yo-yo effect, and your entire relationship with food, nutrition, fuel, which is something that we should use to our advantage to help fuel our life, and not something that we should like obsess over and think about constantly, right? So when you're cutting, you're constantly just obsessing over it. And on top of that too, of course, when you're food deprived, when you're in a calorie deficit, you're low in energy, your libido tanks, low libido and low patience. You get really, for lack of a better term, hangry. When you're hungry and you're angry, you get hangry. People don't like being around you, right? Have you ever been around a bodybuilder who is like 2 weeks before their show? Like, they're a walking zombie. They're not fun to be around. And they snap immediately as soon as you try to touch their food, or as soon as you try to maybe just play around with them. And I'm not calling out bodybuilders. I'm calling myself out because that used to be me. Every single time I went on a cut, every single time I went on this like super extreme approach of trying to lose as much body fat as I could, you're literally training your body and your brain to live in extremes. And here's the real issue no one talks about. Every phase that you do requires completely different habits, different grocery lists, different meal timings, different psychology around food. Because when you're cutting, the only thing you're thinking about is low calorie, high volume, lettuce, eating like a rabbit. And then when you're bulking, you're thinking like complete opposite. You're like, give me the highest calorie food. Give me the highest calorie sauces, highest calorie condiments. Let's go out and get Domino's every single weekend. Let's go out for all you can eat sushi. And it's like this yo-yo up and down. And it's like, this creates such unhealthy habits. And I haven't even mentioned the whole body dysmorphia, where you're never really truly happy with the way you look. When you're bulking, you feel fat. When you're cutting, you feel skinny. And then you keep on flip-flopping back and forth, thinking that'll fix the issue, when in reality, you're just spinning your wheels in circles. And here's the thing that a lot of people suffer from. Like most of you watching right now, you're not going to be a pro bodybuilder, right? Like my audience is not that. And you know that deep down. You are a regular person. You have responsibilities outside of the gym, and you just want to, quite honestly, look good naked. You want to be able to take off your shirt in public, be able to see some good definition, be able to show up confident at the beach, at the pool, actually be in those pictures, look at yourself in the mirror, and actually be proud of the person who's staring back at you. And by going on these bulking and cutting cycles, from a psychological perspective, you're not going to be always satisfied because you're constantly striving towards something. You're constantly trying to improve something, get better at something. But by using this extreme approach, you never truly really get there. So yeah, that is my perspective on this. And that inconsistency makes long-term adherence to anything almost impossible for normal humans with, once again, jobs, kids, children, relationships, families, wives, partners, and stress, which is why most people spend years yo-yoing and never, ever, ever, ever feeling satisfied in their body. And it's so ironic because the reason we all get into fitness, or at least the reason I got into fitness, was to actually feel confident for once, actually feel good about myself for once, increase my self-esteem, look at myself in the mirror and say, you know what? I am freaking proud of the person staring back at me. I am proud of the effort I'm putting in. I'm proud of my diet. I'm proud of my workouts. I am proud of the person I am becoming. And I quite honestly could not say that when I was stuffing myself with all these high calorie junk food on my bulk, because I saw my favorite fitness influencers do that and promote this lifestyle. And then on the other end of the extreme, when I was done with that, going on this extreme cut where I was depriving myself of food. And the only thing I could think about was low calorie foods, artificial flavors to enhance my meals, low calorie sauces, low calorie condiments, low calorie everything, walking like a zombie, avoiding social events, not going out to parties because I was so just low energy, having issues with my libido, with my sex drive, low testosterone levels. Like, by me saying this out loud, that should be like, yo, Conan, like, that's not healthy. Yet we are promoted to do all these things by our favorite fitness influencers. You're either told that you should go in the bulk or you should go in the cuts. No one is telling you that, hey, why don't you just live a healthy lifestyle? Why don't you just eat some protein, eat some fiber, eat your fruits, eat your veggies, get some sunlight, prioritize your sleep, work hard in the gym, but don't overdo it. Eat a nutritious diet, but don't underdo it and don't overdo it. What's wrong with just a balanced approach? And I'm going to discuss the benefits of that. Right? So here's why this destroys long-term results, this whole cutting bulking cycle. Muscle, as we all know, is built very slowly. You cannot just snap your fingers and boom, be Ronnie Coleman, be jacked, 300 pounds of pure muscle. You cannot do that. Whereas fat, as we all also know, is gained pretty easily. So when you bulk aggressively, when you put yourself in this huge calorie surplus where you're eating 500, 1,000 extra calories beyond your maintenance, guess what happens? Research actually shows a large percentage of that weight gained is fat and not muscle, especially past a small calorie surplus. Anything beyond a slight surplus, you may think is beneficial, but it's actually doing you a whole lot more harm than good. You're just going to be gaining a whole lot more excess body fat. And then when you cut hard, you go on this hard bulk and you're like, oh, I got a bit too puffy. I got a bit too fat. Now let's go on the other end of the extreme. Let's cut really hard. Guess what happens? You lose fat, yes, but you also lose muscle because you're so extreme with it. We've all seen it. These extreme diets, yes, you'll lose a bunch of weight. But there's a big difference between weight loss and fat loss. Weight loss means that you're, yes, losing some body fat, but then also losing muscle, which is not what we want. So when you cut hard, you lose fat, but you also lose muscle. And on top of that, your performance dips, your strength decreases, and your motivation dips too. Because when you're literally going into the gym, which is something like the entire purpose of going into the gym, it's not to get weaker. At least I hope for most people. The entire purpose of going into the gym, into the weight room, lifting weights, is to get stronger, lift more weights, add more weight to the bar, not less. Do more reps than last week, not less. And by you going into the gym in this food-deprived state, low energy, you're literally putting yourself in an environment where you're voluntarily getting weaker over time. And that could just from a motivational standpoint, just completely tank you. Imagine going into work every single day and just making less and less money, or just doing something in life and getting worse and worse and worse at it. That's not fun. Of course, your motivation is going to dip. Of course, your discipline is going to dip. Your willpower is going to dip. You're going to hate going into the gym because now something that you once actually looked forward to doing because you were seeing all this progress, now you're like, I'm literally stepping into the gym, and every single time I do that, I am literally getting weaker. I can see my performance in real time going lower and lower and lower. I used to bench press 100 pounds. Now I can only do 80 pounds. I used to squat 200 pounds. Now I can only do 150 pounds. That's messed up. That's not fun, right? And so what happens? You bulk, you cut, and you end up looking similar every single year. Different body weights, same frustration. That is not progress. That is you, quite literally, spinning your wheels in circles and circles and circles. Staying stuck. So here's what the science actually says. Muscle protein synthesis is maximized with adequate protein intake, so just eating a bare minimum amount of protein, resistance training, and a small energy surplus, or even a maintenance calories, especially if you are a trained individual. Now, excess calorie surpluses do not proportionally increase muscle gain. They mostly increase fat gain. Now, high protein diets improve body composition even without large calorie deficits. Fiber-rich, nutrient-dense diets improve satiety, insulin sensitivity, gut health, and your adherence. Now, what does that mean? In translation, you do not need to stuff yourself to build muscle. And you don't need to starve yourself either to stay lean, which is amazing. It's like, okay, knowing that I don't need to force myself with all this food, but then also not starve myself. What is the better approach? Well, let me tell you. This is the better approach for 2026 and hopefully moving forward, because I am sick and tired of all these people promoting the whole cutting and bulking cycle. Especially, once again, if you are a busy guy and you have other responsibilities outside of the gym and you don't plan on stepping on stage or wearing Speedos and swim trunks, getting judged by judges half naked with a light shining bright in your face with a weird tan and the big audience looking at you. The smarter approach is boring, but boring works. Boring always works. So here's what you're going to do. You're going to eat around maintenance. You're going to find your maintenance calories and just eat that. And with that, you're going to eat high protein, high fiber, nutrient dense foods. Now with that, you're going to train hard. You're going to progress slowly and add muscle over time. This way, you will stay lean year round. You feel good year round, and your habits stay the same year round. No identity shifts every couple months, no mental burnouts, no food obsession either. And hey, when life happens, you go on a holiday, you go on a vacation, you get sick, you just take a couple of weeks off the gym, you have a stressful month at work. It happens. We're all human beings. We all go through life. That is an appropriate time where you can, if you wanted to, if you went overboard, maybe you missed a couple of workouts, you ate a bit more food than usual, that's when you can sprinkle in a short mini cut. That is the only, I would say, extreme thing that you would probably have to do maybe once a year after Christmas, after the holidays, after a vacation, if you actually let yourself go. But it is very unlikely for you to let yourself go because you have now, hopefully with this lifestyle change, changed your habits where you don't view vacation as like, oh, this is a free-for-all. I'm going to go to the all-inclusive resorts, go to the buffet 3 times a day and just stuff myself with food. Because now, hopefully, before you going into that all-inclusive resort, before you going to that all-you-can-eat buffet, you have built up the habits of intuitive eating, mindful eating, not viewing food as like, oh, a scarce thing of like, whenever I'm surrounded by it, I need to force myself to stuff it every single time. Like, no, now you go to an all-you-can-eat buffet on vacation, on a trip, wherever you go to a restaurant, a business trip, and you're going to have a more moderate approach. You're going to just pick out your favorite foods and say, okay, this is pretty good. I'm not completely stuffed. I'm like 80% full. I'm good. I'm chilling. And then you're going to move on with the rest of your life. And you're not going to be food obsessed. And you're going to have no regrets, and you're going to feel good year round. That is the life that we want to live. We don't want to be living in this world of either too much abundance or too much scarcity. We just want to live in a healthy, energetic, sustained lifestyle, sustained world, where we just get to experience everything we want and enjoy everything to the fullest. Try out some different foods, but don't completely go overboard. Try different workouts, but don't force yourself to kill yourself in the gym every single time. Because here's the thing a lot of people don't think about. Fitness is just like a relationship. And now what do I mean by that? A relationship, once you get into one, what are you going to be doing? Are you going to check it off your bucket list and say, okay, I have accomplished, I've done the thing. I've worked hard to get into a relationship and now I'm done. Game over. I've completed the whole relationship game. No more work. No, of course not. You've done the hard work leading up to it to get yourself in a relationship, hopefully with an amazing partner who you love spending time with. Well, guess what? Now the real work begins. Now you got to try your best to maintain that relationship. So the entire point of getting into a relationship is not just to get into one, it's to stay in one. And guess what? With fitness, it's the exact same thing. The entire point of fitness is not just to get fit, it is to stay fit. How many people do you know who once had a six-pack, but then fell off? Or were once that Chad in high school, but then as soon as they graduated college, they let themselves go. And now they're 30 pounds, 50 pounds overweight. Who cares if you were a Chad in high school? Who cares if you had six-packs or abs when you were 21? If now, right now, you can't even look at yourself in a mirror. Who cares if you were once in an amazing relationship, if now you are single and you're lonely and you don't have a family and you don't have kids and you really want them? Like, who cares, right? So this is when the real work begins. We like to put finite deadlines into infinite games for whatever reason. When it comes to fitness, we like to do 30-day challenges, 75-day hard, all these stupid things that are so extreme. And then what? You cross it off your list, then you go back to your old habits again. It's like, yes, I did it. I did a 30-day fitness challenge. I'm so proud of myself. Let's celebrate by stuffing ourselves with pizza for the entire weekend and then go back to getting all that 20 pounds back again. You've just completely outdone all of your hard work and effort. For what? For a couple of days of being lean at the beach, a couple cool pictures. Your entire psychology around fitness is messed up. And it's promoted by all these fitness influencers who tell you should go on a bulk, you should go on a cut. 6 months of cutting, 6 months of bulking. 6 months of cutting, 6 months of bulking. What is the point? And here's the thing. By you following a more sustained, more enjoyable approach, knowing, hopefully, that you'll stay in fitness for the rest of your life, you will eventually reach your genetic potential anyway. You will get there. We will all get there, especially if you see yourself lifting weights, eating healthy for the rest of your life, which we all should be, because we should all strive to be confident, not just now, but forever. We should all strive to have more energy, not just now, but forever. We should all strive to lead by example, not just now, but for forever, right? So going back to what I said earlier, when life happens, you let yourself go a bit. Then you can sprinkle in a mini cut. Just 2 to 4 weeks and then back to maintenance again. You're not punishing yourself. You're not doing anything extreme, just a small little correction. So here's why this approach wins long-term. Fitness, like I said, is an infinite game. There is no deadline. There is no finish line. The entire point of the game is to keep on playing it. It's to keep on going. You're supposed to be fit forever. You're supposed to be strong forever. You're supposed to be healthy forever. So why would you choose an approach that only works in short bursts and makes you miserable half of the year? Consistency always beats intensity, and longevity beats impatience. And ironically, this approach get you better results over time anyway. So if you are tired of bulking and cutting and never being happy with the way you look, you don't need to have more discipline. You don't need to have more willpower. You just need a better system. You need a better strategy. And if you want my exact year-round lean muscle approach, high protein nutrition system, and training structure built for busy men like yourself, you can watch this video, links below, or you can book a free consultation call where we'll essentially go over your current goals. We'll see exactly how much weight you're looking to lose, how much muscle you're trying to build. We'll see exactly what your biggest struggle is holding you back from that. And then we'll create a game plan together to help you absolutely crush them in the next 3 to 6 months. If that sounds good to you, the link will be in the description down below. I'll leave you with this. Fitness should not feel like a cycle of extremes. It should feel fun. It should feel sustainable. It should feel like something you look forward to every single morning, to eat your meals, to do your workouts, because that right there is how you actually win.